Year-old boy, I owned this train as a clockwork train. It was built in the GDR in 1961. I had this train. I found it on eBay. The clockwork was unrepairable, so I gave the engine an electric drivetrain. All the parts are still made in the GDR, the cogwheels and the axles, but the motor is a replacement now by Faulhaber. It is a pretty loud toy train. The wheel rims of the engine are made from water pipes of cast iron. The same equipment was also available for S-scale. And when I began O-scale railroading in 1975, I was in need for cars for my River Rossi locomotives, and someone gave me a box of tin plate cars, but I had to rebuild them completely. They were in very bad shape, and now they are running on my little train. Maybe the passenger cars are from Carrette. My brother once got presented some toy trains and a drivetrain. The drivetrain doesn't belong to one of the locomotives, and I found out that it was an old Fleischmann drivetrain. Later would get a hood for this drivetrain and the tender, and made the wheels to fine scale standards, and now this old tin plate Fleischmann locomotive is running, and I also bought some cars for. This car was the very first car I ever got for my River Rossi locomotive, and I thought it may be a good work train car. Locomotive was once a part of an alarm clock. I made it running on O-scale tracks. With a German engine in the 1 to 50 scale, close to 1 to 48. So I can compare it with the American models I have. I began to scratch build locomotives. This was my very first in brass Breckenridge engine from a little Beechnut chewing gum picture that I enlarged. Then I got a nice drawing for an Erie and Wyoming Valley Camelback engine. These are the parts that survived a car wreck I had with a lot of my equipment aboard. In 1989, when I did not know much about the VNT, I got the narrow gauge and short line Gazette, and inside was a plan for the San Luis Valley Southern engine. I began to build it. It is running now since 2010, but I don't know if I will ever finish it. Also, this train car was one of my very first cars. It is made by Boop. When I was a little boy, I played with Lego parts and autos, and my father had an old Fleischmann catalog from Western Germany, and I was always fascinated by the American trains. And a few years ago, I bought some from eBay. This is my very first Fleischmann drop train. It is still operating. And some very old GDR Pico express train cars. But then came the Genoa in 1975 and the Reno 2 years later maybe, and I was hunting drawings of American railroad cars. I could get some very old model railroaders from the United States in the GDR, and this West Shore car was the first car I ever built for O-scale. I made it 1:45, then that is O-scale in Germany. And also this car was in 1:45, like my Camelback locomotive, cause I built to German O-scale. This is the third car I ever built with another lettering. This is made from an H.O. Rivarossi car, enlarged maybe to 1:45. And this car is the last I built. It will go to America tomorrow maybe. This is Genoa in its 1906 configuration, like in the museum in Sacramento, but the tender is still oil and I must change it to wood. Bob Stevenson of Stevenson Preservation Lines had casted for me new cylinder heads of the engine. After Masters I made him. Wheels are replaced by German wheels, but with the right diameter. Meanwhile, I have good wheels casted by Bob Stevenson after my Masters. This freight train is completely V&T with the SMR Truckee locomotive, the combination boxcar, the tunnel car, the woodwrack car, 2 flat cars, the SMR ore cars, and a second number 10, the first one I built for Tom Smith, and this will be my own car. Still incomplete, however. I replaced the channeled side rods from the SMR locomotive with my own side rods from nickel silver. Only the main rod still is channeled. My most colorful engines. Also with the new cylinder heads.